Okay, well, good morning. Good morning, families and students. Day 24. Hope you're having a good morning so far. We're going to go ahead and get to today's lesson. So hope you've got the papers there and just kind of go through and flip through with me. And then, of course, later today, if you have any questions, you can contact me. So let's go ahead and jump in. Grab your first page. I'll bring it up here. It's going to start with cursive today. And the sentence that it gives you is, cursive is so fun. It gives you a little dot here, gives you a little reminder of where to start. And then, of course, cursive letters stay connected. So just try to keep your strokes nice and even and moving in a good direction. And that should be fine. Don't forget your period at the end. You've got 5 lines to trace over. And then you've got an empty line down here. You've got some lines out here to practice. Of course, you can always grab some notebook paper and practice on that as well. A little bit smaller, and that'll be great practice. Okay, moving on to grammar. We're working with 3 different types of verbs. In some previous lessons, we've talked about present, past, and future tense. We're kind of bringing that all together here. And so the directions are really important here, so let's take a look at those. Each sentence below has a time clue, a word that tells, gives you an idea of the timing. Each sentence below has a time clue that tells if the action is happening now, which would be present, if it's in the past, which would be with an ED, it already happened, or in the future, it's going to happen. So that would be with the word will. Choose the correct form of the verb to complete each sentence or write your answer on the line. All right, let's take a look at number 1 here. It says, now Pete needs or needed a gift for his Uncle Carl. So I suggest you read them both in there. Now Pete needs a gift for his Uncle Carl. Now Pete needed a gift for his Uncle Carl. Well, if the word now wasn't there, both of our words would work just fine. Pete needs and Pete needed. Both of them would be just fine. But this word now is really a great clue word that helps us with tense of the verb. So now Pete what? Well, now Pete needs. Usually a verb with an S is in the present tense. So now Pete needs a gift for his Uncle Carl. Needed would have been past, and it wouldn't go with now. It wouldn't agree with the word now. So needs is in there. So just pay attention to those time words as you go through here. I see one tomorrow, years ago, today. Those all help you. A lot of them are at the beginning. Some of them are at the middle or the end. So just pay attention to that, whether it's past, present, or future. Moving on to math. Math. Today we'll be looking at perimeter and area. And so this is an area that a lot of kids struggle with, and it's been a while since we've gone over it. So if you don't remember perimeter and area, just pay close attention and you'll be able to do this. The 2 things that we need to remember: perimeter is the distance around an object, and area is how much space is inside of that object. Perimeter is around, area is inside. And so there's 2 clear ways that we need to figure out those. One for perimeter, one for area. A lot of kids get those mixed up. So just be careful as we go through here. All right, so grab your sheet here. Let me bring up the whiteboard. We're going to go over some examples of perimeter and area. All right, so perimeter, we'll start out with perimeter. Now, perimeter, sometimes I'll just say P because that's how I remember that, the P and the A, the perimeter and the area. So I may refer to it like that today. Perimeter is where you add all sides. Add all sides. Now don't forget that word all there. You add all the sides. Sometimes it's just 4 like we're going to do today. Sometimes it's 3 like a triangle, or many more sides on other shapes. So you need to put them all together for perimeter. So let's do a quick example here. We've got 10 and 2 on this rectangle. Sometimes may just give you those two, like our examples today. Well, you know that opposite sides are the same on rectangles. So the opposite side of this 10 would be 10 over here. The opposite side of the top 2 here at the bottom would be 2 as well. So we want to add all the sides. So we have to add all 4 of these numbers. It doesn't matter what order, but we need to add all 4 sides. I'm going to put doubles together. So I'm going to do 10 plus 10 first, and that gives us 20. Then I'm going to do 2 plus 2 is 4. And then I'm going to take those 2 and I'm going to put them together. 20 plus 4 is 24. We're going to label it centimeters. So we need to remember that it's all 4 sides, and it could be in any order. Could do these mentally. You probably knew 10 plus 10 was 20, and 2 plus 2 is 4, and you could put 20 and 4 together. Some of these are a little trickier, and you need to go ahead and put the equations right there on the paper. So be careful with that. Let's go ahead and go to examples that go along with, yeah, let's not forget about area first. Sorry about that. Area. Area is what? Length times width. Length times width. It's not adding all 4 sides. In fact, you just need 2. You just need the long side and the short side, the length and the width. So let's take that 10 and 2 rectangle again. We've got 10 and 2. Now, could we fill in the other 2 sides? Of course we could. We could fill in the other 2 sides, but we don't need to because we just need the long side and the short side. So we've got 10 for the length, we've got 2 for the width, and we want to multiply. This is not adding, this is multiplying. 10 times 2. We've got 2 10s or 10 2s, so that would be 20. 20 centimeters, and this is going to be squared because it's the amount of area on the inside. So that has to have that 2 up there. 10 2s. You can count by 2s 10 times, or you can count by 10, you could count by 10s 2 times. But 10 times 2 is 20. So let's look at some of the examples that go along with our sheet today. So this is your first one there. You can look over it. 5 and 4 is what they give you. Well, let's fill in the other 2 real quick. So that gives us all 4 sides for the perimeter. So we've got the left and right. 5 plus 5 is 10. The top and bottom, 4 plus 4 is 8. And then we put those 2 amounts together. 10 and 8 is 18 centimeters. For the area, we're going to do length times width. So we only need 2 of the sides, we need the long side and the short side. 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. You can count by 5s 4 times or count by 4s 5 times. If you want to count by 5s, which is how I would suggest it, you would put up 4 fingers and count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. It's a great way to get there. Centimeters squared, because that's the area inside. Let's look at the next one. All right, so we've got a rectangle with 9 for the long side, 5 for the short side. Let's fill in the missing sides, 9 and 5. Perimeter is adding all 4 sides, adding all the sides. 9 plus 9 is 18. 5 plus 5 is 10. And then 18 plus that 10 gives us 28 centimeters. This is not squared. This is the distance around an object, the distance around. So it's just centimeters, 28 centimeters. Area, length times width. We use the long side and the short side. 9 times 5 is what? Count by 5s 9 times. You can work your way up to that. It's going to be 45. And that's going to be centimeters squared. So you put those on the right side. So those are just some reminders there of what's going on with perimeter and area. So just try not to get those 2 things confused. And remember, the perimeter is the distance around, just add every side. And area is how much is inside, so you multiply the long side times the short side, length times width. So that's kind of where we're headed on the math today. You'll put these, all your perimeter answers go here. So that's why number 1 was 18 centimeters. And for the area, number 1 was 20 centimeters, and that should actually have a squared up there. So you fill that in for me. And then we did 2 and 3. So that gets you started with 3. We did 1 and 2, and then you'll be working on number 3 here. So you'll do the length of all the 4 sides, and you'll put it here, and then you'll multiply 9 times 6, and you'll put it there. And so that'll get you started with the math. Just got reading and social studies left. For reading today, you've got a great fictional story. It's not a real story, but it's fun to read. Carnival Fever. So just read over that. There's a couple of pages of the story here. Looks like there's a lot of characters talking with dialogue and interesting story. Then you've got some questions to go along with it. Remember to refer back to the story. Underline stuff, circle stuff, whatever helps you. Number 2 is a graphic organizer, 3 carnival games in Sophie's bedroom. Go back and find those 3, fill in this graphic organizer, and then go ahead and finish that part of the lesson up. And finally, social studies, lesson 34 talks about voting. Actually, in Kentucky, we'll be voting very soon, and later this year, we'll be voting for president. So this is a great story to know right now. We've got some bold words, and we've got photographs and headings, a lot of text features there, a few questions that go along with that story. And then the second page has a map. I love maps, so it's a great thing to be able to use maps correctly. And then you've got a few questions to go along with that. That finishes up Thursday. Again, I hope you have a great day. Set up a good schedule where you're doing some work and having some playtime and having some free time. And as always, make it a great day, Cardinals.